Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-port. I see people responding to the late beginning by implying that it will be unfair for me to assert that we have to get to 1,000 likes before getting the main story. And to that I say, yes, obviously that is true. We're going to try to fit in as much as we can. I do have to prep for an interview with Steven Donziger that's going to be taking place on the show today with Jessica Burbank. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. Okay. So, I thought that this might happen. So, Parker, I want to talk to you. Because we could have just talked. And I think that we know each other well enough that you know that I'm always down to talk about it. I think it's why I've had you on the show so many times already, and I've addressed this topic, hundreds of times. Everyone on the internet who has a platform probably knows what it's like to be viciously attacked in spirit. And I understand that it's very easy to see people, especially people with a platform, as just being like a collection of takes or something. But one of the things that I, as a progressive, try to do is maintain that, for the most part, we should think of people as humans. And so just speaking human to human, Parker, I'm addressing it right now. I'm talking to you right now. You've been viciously attacked. How would you feel if somebody asked you to comment on something after they had smeared you multiple times, called you gross, called you a coward, before you ever had a chance to respond? Like, seriously, human to human. Like, that's not the best way to get a conversation started, to spread misinformation about how TYT is funded. I understand, Parker. Obviously, this is an incredibly serious issue, and the context in terms of our country and the culture was insane. Obviously, I agree with that. There are literally dozens and dozens of people that work at TYT that I think are, passionate advocates for these topics. Like, how would you feel? I'm actually asking as a human. Would you then respond to something? If somebody walked up to you on the street, punched you in the face multiple times, and then asked you for comment on something, would you feel like that's the beginning of a productive conversation? I don't think that I'm an a-hole. I think that I'm open to talk about literally anything, even when it's, impromptu brought up on a stream about other stuff. And I'm happy to have that conversation, but it has to be in a context where we treat people like they're humans, fundamentally. And it, obviously, all respect due, we've had many conversations. I think that that's very clear over years now. But you wouldn't like it if I were to attack you many times and then say, now give me a comment. You wouldn't. You're a human. It's only natural. I think that I've been very clear for a very long time about what I think about inclusive language, both from the government and personally. I think that the government should use as inclusive language as possible. Obviously, I try in all cases to use as inclusive language as possible. And as a general rule, I believe that people should be referred to however they prefer. This is not me making clear something that wasn't clear. People who watch the show know that that's what I think. And that's what I've advocated for in literally hundreds of segments over years. But in the same way that I believe that everyone else should be treated with, I'm not even going to say respect, because that's too lofty, just basic humanity, I also expect, considering the amount of attacks that I and everyone else with a platform on Twitter face, that I also believe that I should be treated with sort of like a base level of humanity. Perfectly happy to talk about the topics. Perfectly happy. It's my literal job. I don't have an issue with that. But we do have to treat each other with humanity and not baselessly attack people who I believe work in good faith, with passion, to make the country a better place, are all blanket gross or cowards or whatever. Grizzly asks, did Parker get blocked? Oh, I have not blocked anyone. I really hope that if the mods have blocked anyone, please unblock whoever you've blocked during this stream. I'm not blocked. I hope that nobody else has. Everyone is always free to ask whatever questions they want in the stream. And Parker was being perfectly fine in the chat. So if anyone did block Parker or anyone else during the stream, I don't know that I've even seen a mod, but please unblock them if you have. Anyway, and by the way, there are disagreements. There's a lot of different personalities across TYT. There can be disagreements. That's fine. There should be, really. I mean, it would be really weird if we all agreed on literally everything. So I am just making clear what I believe. That's what I'm saying. I don't see any comments from Parker, which distresses me, whether it's because Parker left or because Parker was blocked. I don't want either of those things to happen. If somebody did a timeout, please reverse that. I would love it if you would reverse that. I don't know from this platform how to do that. I don't know. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. Timeout needs to end. I don't know how to do it. I don't. And by the way, no, like, look, am I being defensive? Of course I'm being defensive. I've been attacked. I'm a human. When humans are attacked, they get defensive. That doesn't mean that anybody can't have whatever response they have. Obviously they can. These are incredibly important, divisive issues. Like, one of the reasons we talk about related topics having to do with the attacks on the trans community on like a daily basis, is because those attacks literally never stop. Okay. I don't see any comments, and I don't know how to fix it at this point, so I apologize. Anyway, I'm sure we'll talk more. That's all I can say. Okay, I lost my train of thought. Okay, well, we have a show coming up, everyone, where Jessica Burbank's going to be joining me. We're going to be having Stephen Donziger on to talk about the latest status of the ongoing legal fallout from the Chevron lawsuit and the contempt of court like responsive lawsuits. We're also hopefully going to talk a little bit about the contamination of the soil and water in East Palestine. So I was really hoping to get a response. Again, I don't know what's going on. I was hoping to get a response. Please, nobody attack Parker. Like, we can have a disagreement, that's fine. Nobody attack Parker. Parker is a passionate advocate for many issues, a very talented writer. Let's just keep it above board, everyone, please. Okay, let's see. What were we gonna talk about? Well, let's go to our main story or whatever. And by the way, I'll give you a little bit of a brief of what we're going to be talking about on the full show. Our A block is Ron DeSantis already moving to expand the Don't Say Gay bill to literally everyone in school. And then much more besides that. But very importantly, we're not only going to be responding to that, but we're also going to be giving you what people actually think about these topics. Because they can be popular amongst right-wingers in Florida. Turns out not so popular nationally amongst regular American voters. And that is important, not only for the future of those issues, but also for the Republican primary, but then the general election as well in 2024. Okay, so I do want to talk a little bit about how that back and forth is developing. And I will say that it can simultaneously be developing in a fashion that is entertaining or interesting, but also not necessarily working in a substantive direction that I would prefer. So I've previously said that I like the fact that Donald Trump was centering the Republican plans to cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid as part of the Republican primary. I think that if you're going to have a substantive debate inside the Republican primary, that's probably a great thing to have it about. It has turned in a different direction. Trump has spread this, saying, so it's Yoshi the Patriot posted it, but Trump is spreading it. Ron DeSoros, by the way, so you get a little bit of anti-Semitism in that, apparently killed a 100-year-old World War II veteran with the vaccine. He died 4 months after getting the vaccine. I don't even know if that's true, but let's say that it is true. Let's assume that it is true. It's a 100-year-old person. The chance that they might die at any given 4-month period, I mean, I think it's measurable at that point, but this is what he's using to attack him. And he kind of has to, because Ron DeSantis is going to attack Trump a lot for being supportive of the vaccine and all that. But now Trump is turning it around on him, saying that Ron DeSantis is killing people with the vaccine. And that sucks, because Trump didn't win that debate. He didn't win the debate of trying to get Republicans to be supportive of the vaccine or masks or anything like that. He was only really trying for the vaccine, but that was something at least. He apparently has realized at this late date that he needs to jettison all of that. Like, there's no room for any of that. He says, so much for Ron and anti-vax. So now they're debating on being more anti-vax than each other. He also closed up Florida and its beaches. There was like a very, very tiny bit of restrictions, briefly, in some areas. And that was it. Maybe the Florida beaches, I don't know. You know, Florida had, I don't know the most recent number, something like 80,000 deaths or something like that. I lost a family member to COVID in Florida. But he was too restrictive. And now they're debating over who would have done the worst stuff to Fauci. That's what it's going to be about. It's going to be about that. It's also going to be about the culture war tax. So overall, it is going to be an absolutely vicious primary. I'm looking forward to some of it for pure entertainment purposes, but a lot of it I think is going to be really damaging. You know, for us as, you know, we're not going to be participating in it. It's not going to change our views on a lot of issues, but it is going to determine what a lot of Republicans think about these sorts of things, both on topics like COVID, vaccines, and all of that, whether people should be a part of a solution in a public health crisis in the future, but also a lot of these issues that Ron DeSantis has been really focusing on down in Florida. Okay, everyone, that's it for the pre-show for today. I don't know exactly what happened with the timeout or whatever. It is obviously unfortunate, but in any event, we'll see what happens. We've got the show coming up in just 13 minutes. Jessica Burbank is going to be joining me. We're going to be talking about a lot of different stuff. They finally arrested someone for attempting to burn down an abortion clinic, I believe in Wyoming. We've got that. We've got a lot more besides, so I hope to see you in just a few.